Had it not been for Thomas Edison, this morning's guest wouldn't have been decorating for tomorrow night. Who is she? You'll meet her coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Embassy Suites Resort at Kingston Plantation, home of the 13th Annual American Hardball. Tomorrow, we're focused on the event and visiting with the longtime decorations chair, Rita Siegal-Levine. Good morning, Rita.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in. It is so close at hand. It's amazing.
I know. We're ready. It's here, isn't it?
I know. Tomorrow, and of course, Kingston's been working so hard behind the scenes, just like all volunteers do, to make tomorrow night's event a big success, Rita.
Yeah, they're wonderful to work with.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from the other venues in the area that have hosted the Hardball or host other amazing events, much like the Hardball. Of course, 4 years ago, were at the Radisson, now Sheridan, for the last 3 years at the Marriott. But to be, as Joe Delaney called, back home is a nice thing to be at the Embassy Suites this year. And they have really, as you know, I think at a recent Hardball meeting, the new executive chef came out and showed some of his wares and really made an effort to put on a great show.
Yeah, they're really excited that we're here, and that's nice. It makes it exciting for all of us.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Every place has been very nice, but it is nice to be here.
Yes, yes. Read about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
I was actually born in New Jersey many years ago.
Yeah.
And my family moved to Marion, South Carolina in 1963.
To Marion, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
in our viewing area.
The little town of Marion, and I came from a large high school, a regional high school, and I moved to Marion where there was 500 students, 8th grade through 12th. It was quite an adjustment shock.
I bet that was. And you were there for your junior and senior year.
Yes.
What prompted the move, Rita?
My father was in the light bulb business and in New Jersey, and they wanted to move the factory. And they had found an old tobacco warehouse in Mullins, South Carolina, and right on the railroad tracks, and it just seemed a perfect opportunity for a manufacturing plant there. And at the time in the 60s, South Carolina was just begging for industry.
Right,
and
right.
it was a great time. It was a great time for my father and my family and everything. And so we moved our light bulb factory to Mullins, and we lived in Marion, and it was a good time.
Was that a family business, Rita? Is that something that you or your siblings got involved in?
Well, actually, my mother was explaining the story. My grandfather, who started it, came over from Poland, and he had a partner, a Mr. Gallagher, and Mr. Gallagher knew Thomas Edison.
No way.
Yes, and Mr. Gallagher started making light bulbs, and he was a friend of Thomas Edison's, and so that's how they put it all together. And my grandfather went to visit Thomas Edison in New Jersey.
You're kidding.
Well,
yeah, of course.
in the early
Many years
1900s.
ago, that's right.
Yes.
It was your grandfather.
My father's father that started it. Yes.
That teamed up, but he was coming over from Poland, and
He came over from Poland when he was
Gallagher.
16, and he hooked up with Gallagher in his early 20s.
Right, right.
And so this was in the late 1800s.
Right.
Early 1900s, and so they started doing this. So it was in the family for years and years and years, and then my brother Bruce got into it.
Sure.
My uncle, who was my father's brother, he stayed in New Jersey and was at the sales end, and his son came into it. So it was, it was a Siegel family,
definitely a family
for
event.
Many years, yeah. And I used to work there in the summertime, but I didn't get into it. I got a little bit more creative than making light bulbs.
Yes,
so
that you did. I don't think I knew all this stuff about you until we got it last week. This is tremendous, Rita.
Oh,
I mean, tremendous all that you've done, and to think about the expansion. Of course, we think about you and your volunteer role for tomorrow night's event, year after year, chairing the decorations committee. But of course, for your 20+ years of owning Dandelion Limited.
Yeah.
Even more exciting, and the myriad awards you've gotten for beautification in the city, and probably even many more awards than you would lay out in just a paragraph here. But it's incredible.
I'm proud of Dandelion and what it's done really for downtown Myrtle Beach. You wouldn't expect to find a greenhouse in the downtown area, and it's very pretty, and we do take a lot of pride in it. Yeah. Yeah, we have a fountain in there, and it's just a real nice place to come and visit. So,
do you encourage folks to come by to check it out, whether
they buy or not?
Yeah, you want them to come see it.
We have very unusual plants and some very common plants, but everything is just kept up beautifully. So, we like to say we're uniquely Dandelion.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I like that. I've seen that. Of course, that's one of your taglines, or the tagline, uniquely Dandelion.
When I advertise with you.
Oh, well, in a lot of places, that's right. And your word-of-mouth marketing is probably your best form of advertising, Rita. I would tend to think you've got so many customers. I won't ask you if the plant behind your head is one of yours.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, we take care of all the plants up here at the embassy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
We do flowers and interior plantscaping like here, and Christmas.
And
big holiday
a lot
decorating.
Of Christmas decorations. I saw this past year you all have rented a warehouse and even store a lot of your customers' Christmas decorations.
Yeah, because customers don't have the room for it, so this year we're storing.
That's a tremendous byproduct of your business. I'm sure customers are thrilled.
It was exciting to know that we had outgrown our own warehouse, our own space.
Rita, now you did not jump from your senior year in high school in Marion into Dandelion. A lot has happened in between. Share with the viewers a little bit about you headed to the University of South Carolina. Were there, I think I saw, for about a year and a half.
Yeah, I wanted to go into advertising.
Right.
You know, and I've always loved art and creative things. But after a while, I just really felt like I wanted to go back up north. And so I graduated from a junior college with a associate's degree in retailing.
Right.
And I took a lot of art courses. And then I worked in New York for a number of years.
Yeah, I saw
New York
that.
City, yeah. And that was fun. I was a fashion coordinator for Simplicity Pattern Company.
Really?
And that was fun. I designed their educational swatch books, which is, I used to go to the fabric houses and the trim houses, and I used to put together their sewing books for high school classes, for their home ec classes.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's
and that was fun. So I've kind of had a creative background. My mom's very creative, and so that kind of is where it led to me, and then where it led me to, because I was in New York and met my first husband, who was from Myrtle Beach, and we decided to move back to Myrtle Beach, and I helped him for a number of years.
I saw that for a few years in his practice.
Yeah,
he was an attorney.
He was an attorney, but I eventually, I worked for him for 3 years. He took me out to dinner on a Friday night and fired me. And
that wasn't the end of the marriage. That was just the end of your work experience.
Right. Well,
right.
It did last. It lasted a while longer after that, but yeah, that was the end of my working as an attorney's secretary.
Yeah.
And it was okay because it wasn't really what I wanted to do.
You were trying to make it a little too decorative or creative in the office, and you said this is cut and dried. Yeah.
It just wasn't for me. So anyway, I tried to do a few little things around Myrtle Beach, but at that time there was no advertising company much or. Actually, I worked for Bill Darby for a few.
Oh yeah, I was
for
about to say
bit.
it was either LHW, Andy Lesnick had probably kicked off something in '71, I believe, and Bill Darby had been around since forever,
for a long
50
time.
years, 50 or 51. That's
so
right.
I helped Bill for a while, and
That's
then
great.
this
I did
opportunity.
not know that.
Yeah.
You did not have that on your paragraph here. I'm going to tell Bill that you did not have that in your paragraph.
Yeah, I've done a few things around, and but anyway, or if he's listening, he may say, "No, she worked for me."
Oh yeah, no, he will. That's right. It wasn't just Dandelion, and I'm jotting that down for you to call Bill.
Okay.
Bill, if you're tuning in, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's amazing how things pass, and of course, 22 years at Dandelion, the location on Broadway, but it's been many more years than that. And share with viewers how you came about purchasing Dandelion. It was that you had a partner.
Well, there was a gal that had a little flower plant business, and she was in Murrells Inlet, and she eventually moved to the Pink House Square, which is
Sure,
now
up on-
torn down,
yeah.
but right there at 44th Avenue.
Right.
And it was a wonderful location, and all the little stores, there were little shops everywhere back in the late 70s, mid 70s. And it was a nice place, and she moved there with her little flat plant shop.
Right.
And it was just when plants were starting to come, but people, it wasn't as busy as I would have liked it every day.
Mm-hmm.
But she and her husband decided they wanted to do some traveling, so we figured out what the little business was worth, and I bought her out. And I had gotten this idea to do, I called it interior plantscaping.
I love it.
And well, I didn't know other people were using the same word, but I called it that. And there's a huge national organization. I mean, it's all
interior
over.
landscapers?
Yes,
Really?
yes. I belong to it's National Interior Scape Network, and but there's magazines, and just it's a whole. We meet once a year or twice a year and
Right.
everything. So, but I was doing that. Chikora Development was my first customer.
Is that right?
Coldwell
Wow.
Banker now, Chikora,
sure.
and they're still my customer. So, and this was in the mid 70s, 30 years ago.
Wow, Rita.
Oh, my.
Yeah, to date you there. That's
Yeah,
right.
to date me,
And
yeah.
you've got a big birthday. Not to tell folks what the number is, but a biggie.
A biggie.
In 8 days. That's
Yes.
right. On the 24th.
Yes.
A week after the Heart Ball. I'm
Yeah.
sure you and Lewis will do something nice.
We'll
and
do
cozy
something
on that,
nice.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do something nice. Last year, my mom gave me a birthday party. She wanted to do something for me last year, so I had my party last year. This year,
You're not going to remind her that your birthday's
no,
coming
no.
up. That's right. Your
Well,
mother is
actually,
still living in Marion?
No, my parents moved to Myrtle Beach a number of
right.
years ago, and my father passed away about 11 years ago, and my mom's living down here,
Great.
and it's very nice to have her here. Yeah, she just had a milestone. In January, she celebrated her 90th birthday.
9-0.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Well, we had a celebration. Her granddaughter was 30. I'm going to be 60,
right.
and my mother was 90. So we had 3 generations, and we
Okay.
had a nice family celebration.
Oh, absolutely.
So yes.
That's a tremendous, when you think about milestones like that, of course, we try to focus on milestones like tomorrow night, which really for us, for volunteers or whoever the volunteers are for the Art Association, each event leading up to it is a big milestone. A year has passed, and here's another Heart Ball, and it takes that much effort to remind volunteers that it is just that. It is a big milestone. A lot has to happen to raise funds to fight heart disease and stroke, the number 1 and number 3 killer. And, of course, that has
Yes.
impacted you and your family. I don't believe you're the only one that's had some attack with cardiovascular disease. or
No, my
stroke.
father had cardiovascular disease. He died of that, but he was a miracle man. He had his first bypass surgery at 50. I'm trying to remember now. I think it was 54, and then he had a second bypass surgery at age 71.
Is that right?
And he lived for 10 more years. So he definitely, and he passed it on to my family. My brother Bruce,
no.
who's run marathons and everything, had bypass surgery 8 years ago or 9 years ago, and I had a heart attack in 2000, November of 2000, and my husband is just now recovering from brain hemorrhage, which is a type of a stroke.
Type of stroke, right.
Type of stroke. When we were in a hospital in Charlotte for a month, and for his recovery and for rehab and everything, and it is referred to as a stroke. So we have the American Heart Association to be very grateful for.
Yes.
And we're very much supporters.